It's been definitely difficult for sure. One of the toughest 3 months, I would say.
An exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the intense training at a Marine Corps boot camp.
In this ABC 7 special, we'll show you exactly what it takes to become one of the few and the proud.
This is an ABC 7 News special, Making a Marine.
Hello, I'm Scott Dennis.
And I'm Haley Wilkes. Thank you for joining us for this exclusive look behind the scenes at one of the toughest military training depots in the country.
Educators from around the state of Florida and here on the Suncoast spent 4 days at Parris Island learning exactly what their enlisted students are required to do to become a Marine.
ABC 7's Christopher Brantley also got a glimpse at the intense training and some secrets at the base in South Carolina. He joins us now. Christopher.
Well, hello, guys. It was a trip like none other. The Marine Corps invited us up to Recruit Depot Parris Island to lift the veil on boot camp. It was a whirlwind trip that began at 0600 hours on a Wednesday morning in South Carolina.
Do you understand? Yes, sir. Go. Do you understand? Yes, sir.
It was clear right off the bat that this trip would be different from what us civilians are used to.
You'll be respectful to the Marine, Senate, civilian personnel, point at the depot.
As a group of teachers from all across Florida got off the bus at 6 a.m., they were greeted by the welcoming committee, a loud, brash drill instructor immediately shouting orders.
Now scream right now! All of you scream right now!
The educators stepped onto the trademark yellow footprints that were first painted onto this roadway in 1965. Since then, every recruit has had to stand in the proverbial footprints of the men and women who have come before them. One of those recruits was Private Jeffrey Gannon.
When you step on him, you kind of have like two feelings. Like, for one, what did I just get myself into? And then two, it's like, wow, I'm stepping on the same footprints as like all these heroes that I looked up to like my whole life.
Private Gannon has dreamt of becoming a Marine for a long time. He grew up in Venice, went to Venice High School, where he faced many challenges.
Me and my mom have kind of gone through hell together. So like we've been here, there, blah, 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 this, that, barely graduating, all this stuff, just pushing through.
The son of divorced parents, Gannon was struggling to find a reason to care about school.
I was always that kid that like never thought it would matter. Like freshman, sophomore, junior year, I was always the one to mess around. Oh, this class doesn't matter. I'll just skip it and go eat out in the cafeteria or whatever.
It wasn't until his senior year that Gannon decided to buck up, largely thanks to the local Marine recruiter.
I had like something to look forward to, like something I'm going to. It's not like, oh, I'm graduating and I'm staying around here doing landscaping or something like I was doing like landscaping.
Gannon and his fellow recruits were driven on base in the dark to throw off their bearings.
There's no stopping to think about anything, so your mind's there and you're just ready to go.
One of the core teachings is not so much to think, but to follow orders. The first order that's hard not to think about is the dreaded call home. Here at this bank of phones, the last line of communication with the outside world, many recruits will have for 3 months.
They'll make that first phone call home to their next of kin.
It's a carefully written speech for which there is no deviation.
This is recruit, last name.
Line 2.
I have arrived safely at Parris Island.
Line 3.
Please do not send any food or bulky item in the mail.
Line 4.
I will contact you within 7 to 9 days with my letter on your address.
Line 5.
Thank you for your support. Goodbye for now.
As the script was read in a demonstration, the educators' faces were astonished. The Marine Corps opened the doors to teachers, guidance counselors, and principals from all across the country. The goal was to give the educators more information about what the Marine Corps is about so that they can go back and tell their students.
I actually went into it with all these negative thoughts, just what I've heard.
Kate Glenn teaches at Hillsborough High School. The Marine Corps hopes to change that negative thinking so that teachers will help enlist even more recruits.
An interesting fact about Parris Island, it wasn't always a Marine depot. Its first inhabitants were American Indians.
It wasn't actually used for military purposes until 1861, when it was used as a base for the Union Navy during the Civil War. The base is located here, as seen on this map, just north of Hilton Head in South Carolina. With only one way on and off the island, this is the perfect place for the Marine Corps to turn their civilians into Marines. It wasn't until 1915 that it officially became the training grounds for the Marine Corps. All the time, it was called a Marine Barracks, Port Royal, South Carolina. The name was changed to Parris 2 years later.
Now that we know the history of Parris Island, it's time to see what really happens there.
There isn't much time to rest for these recruits. Soon after they arrive on base, they will begin what's called Hell Week.
You don't sleep for about 2 days, so you don't actually stay in the racks until the third night.
Much of what the recruits do is train physically. Nowhere can you see that better in action than in an early morning physical training, or PT.
They push you till you can't go any further, and then you find that they get that inner strength out of you that you never knew that you had.
If you can decipher through the shouting, you'll hear detailed instructions from the drill instructors about how to tackle each course.
So the drill instructors will show them how to do each technique on each obstacle, and then the recruits go through it multiple times.
The instructors watch closely. They don't want the recruits to get used to doing something the wrong way.
It comes down to technique. You'll get through if you do the technique properly, you won't if you don't.
Captain Jennifer Mozetta shared a few rope climbing tips with us.
It really comes down to using your legs. So you're gonna kick, that's why I kick up so high, and then they push up with their legs instead of using their upper body strength.
It's best to learn the techniques first, because if you don't, you'll be doing it again.
When you're on that 19th pull-up and you can't do another one and they're screaming at you to do another one, you figure out how to do that 20th pull-up.
They gave us all a chance to try it out. Another important lesson: a fallen Marine is never left behind. Here's where they learn to carry a wounded battle buddy out of harm's way.
That kind of relates to the whole mentality of if you get shot in combat and your buddy has to get you out, they at least know the proper carry as well. And it's also good PT when you're carrying somebody the same size as you.
Once recruits do get to rest, this is where they go. Here on base, there are 4 recruit battalions. Each of them have their own buildings that have the barracks in it. They have staff offices, the drill instructors' offices, and a PT field. All of it's really self-contained for the recruits. For instance, that is Battalion 3's. It's not exactly the Holiday Inn. They are, however, very clean, perfectly pressed and folded sheets, boots, towels, and guns stored neatly. Alongside each battalion is what looks like a large child's sandbox. But it's not for sandcastles.
And they get in the sandbox to instill discipline, and when they do something wrong, it's to better themselves, to not do that deficiency again.
Our educators didn't misbehave, but they got to try out the sandbox. As it turns out, it's not really a physical workout as much as a mental one.
It's a mind game, kind of. So, like, rolling around in the sand, they're gonna feel that all day, you know, because they're not allowed to wipe it off.
Since February of 1949, female recruits have been trained here at Parris Island. While nearly 17,000 males are trained here every year, only 2,400 female recruits make the journey. Perfectly in formation, steely-eyed and determined, this is the all-female platoon 2006. Private Finn is one of them.
It was an adventure. It was complicated, it's tiring, but you can get through it as long as you just keep pushing. It's not impossible.
Major General Lori Reynolds is proof that nothing is impossible. She's the commander of Marine Cyberspace Command. She was the first female commanding general of Parris Island. She didn't do an interview with us, but we had a chance to chat. She told us Cyberspace Command is a challenge, but she dutifully reported that we're winning. What we're winning has yet to be seen.
A Marine is characterized as one who possesses the highest of military virtues. She obeys orders, respects her seniors, and strives constantly to be the best in everything she does.
In 2013, then Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta removed the military's ban on women serving in combat roles. Today, there are more than 3,000 males and 600 female recruits on Parris Island. Parris Island isn't the only Marine Corps base here in South Carolina. There's also the Marine Corps Air Station, home of the FA-18 Hornet, the current fighter jet used by the U.S. military. And all around us are the things that we can't show you. Various FA-18s in different states of repair and disrepair. What we can tell you is that the FA-18 fighter jet, it'll break the speed of sound. Our air station trip was especially poignant for Tom Dussault, a teacher at Robinson High School in Tampa. He served in the Marine Corps and did his training here at Parris Island.
It just so happens I was off shift, and he posted a Facebook Live that he was in the base theater getting F-35 brief, and I messaged him. I was like, hey, that's my job.
Dussault taught Lance Corporal Shane McCurdy. They never expected to see one another, but it gave McCurdy a chance to thank Dussault.
It was his influence and one of the other teachers, and that's basically what changed my life.
You say stuff to kids and you just hope that it gets heard, and you know, it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling.
What an operation. They break you down and then they build you back up.
Yes, they do.
Well, now that the introductions are over, it's time to begin training. Coming up next, the obstacles, the trick to rappelling down a 47-foot wall.
Plus, a Vietnam veteran who survived an ambush that left him stranded for 50 days. A survival story from The Walking Dead platoon. That's straight ahead.
ABC 7 My Suncoast News. We provide the news everywhere you are. All your devices, including Apple TV, Roku, and the fastest growing news app on Amazon Fire, offering 24 hours of live news and entertainment, along with video on demand. Visit mysuncoast.com and click on the mobile tab. All the download info is in one convenient location. ABC 7 My Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Attention blood clot filter patients. Surgically implanted blood clot filters are potentially life-threatening. Some filters are prone to breaking, resulting in pieces of the filter moving through the body and causing internal bleeding. If you had surgery to implant a blood clot filter, you may be entitled to a cash award, even if you haven't suffered side effects yet. Call the Gold Shield Group now, 888-747-5291, to see if you qualify for a cash award, 888-747-5291.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand with no surprises and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular received a J.D. Power Award for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-297-5313. Go to consumercellular.com or visit a Target or Sears store today.
Welcome back. We've been following the journey from recruit to Marine at the Marine Corps Recruit Depot on Parris Island.
There was one story we heard that stood out among all the others. Christopher Brantley joins us with that story. Christopher.
Well, the story is that of Alton Cohn. He's a man who has defied death and today tells the story of his famous platoon nicknamed the Walking Dead. On a mission during the Vietnam War, Cohn's platoon walked into an ambush.
On the 5th day of this mission, we got caught in an L-shaped ambush.
Alton Cohn mans the base museum, himself a living piece of history.
The Vietnamese had everything trained on this one position, right? They had the motors, the machine guns, everything, and we just walked into it.
Of the 36 Marines in Cohn's platoon, only 2 survived.
That was heartbreaking because now you got 36 other personnel that was in your unit that 2 or 3 days before that you was kidding around with. Now they gone, except for you 2.
For the next 58 days, Cohn and Campbell survived in the bush, eating meat off a monkey they had killed and drinking stagnant water from ponds. Eventually, they found a group of Green Berets who gave them a helicopter lift back to civilization. Nearly every day, you'll find Cohn walking around the base telling the recruits about his story, a lesson of what can be achieved with strong will. And Cohn said his training at Parris Island gave him the knowledge and courage to survive in the most punishing of circumstances. Scott and Haley.
All right, Christopher. Now, the purpose of all that physical training is to separate the recruits from those who may not be able to make it through the program.
If they can't make it through the training, odds are they won't be able to handle life or death combat situations. If any obstacle is proof of that separation, it is the gas chamber.
This small building is set far away from everything else on base, and that's probably a good thing, because what goes on here is completely unpleasant. This is where recruits are taught how to withstand a chemical attack. Here the gas used is called CS. It's a non-lethal gas. Experts say it's basically pepper spray in a larger quantity. Before going in, recruits must learn how to properly operate these military-issue gas masks. Once they've mastered it, it's time to go in. Their reaction upon exiting tells the story. Cameras cannot go inside the chamber while the gas is being released. Not because the Marines won't allow them, but because the gas is a thick crystal and will get into the lens and ruin the camera. For the same reason, contact lens wearers have to take them out or risk scratching their retinas. They gave us a chance to try it out. There wasn't supposed to be any gas being released, but some miscommunication led to a new canister being opened.
So right now we're in the gas chamber at the Marine Corps base. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, God. So recruits come in here. So I went into the chamber for like less than 10 seconds. They were burning more gas in there. And I couldn't stand it. But the recruits have to go in there for about 5 minutes. They have to take their gas masks off and then put them back on and then remain in there for about 5 minutes in total. I lasted less than 10 seconds. That's good. Ugh.
The experience was unlike anything I've ever felt. My eyes were burning, my skin burned, and worst of all, you just have to deal with it. Water will only make the pain worse. For nearly 20 minutes, the only thing I could do was lay on the ground and wait. If the gas chamber isn't hard enough, the 47-foot rappelling wall has been known to scare away those with a fear of heights.
The guys in the black shirts are our search masters, and they're the ones responsible for all the static rope suspension techniques training that gets done up here at the Parris Island Tower.
Sergeant Snow is one of those black shirts. He says this exercise isn't for fun, it's a serious task.
It can be dangerous, especially if, for example, the other day we had a recruit go down, he got his glove wrapped up inside the carabiner from shoving his hand up in the front. We had to do a rescue, send a black shirt down to go and untie him off the rope, hook him to another one to get him off the side of the tower.
The educators we're traveling with got to see for themselves what it's like to rappel 47 feet down.
Whether it's fast roping out of the helicopter or fast roping out the backside of a Osprey, or rappelling down the side of a building, or more so in a mountainous environment, thinking more like northern Afghanistan and stuff like that, rappelling down the side of that mountain, trying to get to a cave, trying to get to whatever area you need to be in to set up your position, stuff like that.
Now, eventually, the pain from the gas chamber did subside. We asked recruits all around the base what they were most worried about, and just about everyone said it's the gas chamber. Back to you.
Well, we can see why, that's for
Yes.
sure. All right. Thank you, Christopher. When we come back, the future of the Marine Corps.
Hear from a teacher who graduated from Parris Island and how it has changed over the years.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right, we will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call for your free author submission kit at 800-425-5308.
Attention! This is an important message for anyone who has taken Xarelto or Pradaxa. If you or a loved one took the blood thinner medication Xarelto or Pradaxa and was then hospitalized for internal bleeding, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to serious, even fatal internal bleeding. If you suffered a stroke, heart attack, or serious internal bleeding, or if a loved one died after taking Xarelto or Pradaxa, call us now. Our network of attorneys have years of experience fighting the big pharmaceutical companies and is ready to fight for you. Potential claims are being reviewed for users of Xarelto or Pradaxa who have suffered severe bleeding or hemorrhaging, stroke, or even death. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled. Call today for a free confidential consultation. Don't fight this alone.
Please call 800-928-6604. That is 800-928-6604.
Welcome back. Parris Island Recruit Depot has had a shining record of training young recruits to be strong Marines.
However, some of the tactics have been called into question, and this became especially clear in March of last year when 20-year-old Raheel Siddiqui died after falling down several flights of stairs. 3 drill instructors are accused of forcing a Muslim recruit to participate in a hazing ritual. The recruit is then believed to have killed himself. Hearings for that have been set for later this year. After the incident, new leadership was installed on base. We asked the Brigadier General in charge directly about these allegations, but he declined to comment. He did, however, talk to us about the importance of the educators coming on base to see what happens behind closed doors.
So many of them come with preconceived notions. They don't have any idea what the Marine Corps is about. And then they come here and they see how much it changes people's lives. They see the impact that these drill instructors, these other Marines have on their young people, and they're able to go back and talk about what we do here in Parris Island. So it really takes away the mystique of Parris Island and the Marine Corps at large.
Even those educators on the trip who were unsure of what they would find were happy with what they saw. For Kate Glenn, her moment of change came while having a great conversation over a not-so-great lunch with recruits in the mess hall.
A recruit that was sitting at our table was just so eager to tell us what was going on. It was like, I felt like he had like a first sign of civilization, but he was just so positive and so like excited for what he was doing.
One of the educators didn't need a change of mindset. He knows the Marine Corps well. Tom Dussault, who we introduced earlier, was a Marine at Parris Island in 1986. For him, going back to Parris Island was like going home. He commended the Marine Corps for opening the doors on training.
It's brave on their part because a lot of times, you know, people have a preconceived notion, and the way you may see things, I mean, they are who they are. And they really didn't buffer that.
Dussault says the biggest change he saw was how the facility itself has changed. He said things were much newer and the equipment is much nicer for today's recruits.
It's always that way.
It is always that way.
Well, when we come back, the culmination of 3 months of hard work, sweat, and dedication.
The emotional graduation for these hard-working recruits who are now ready to begin their military careers.
It's fine that other people like you. It's more important that you like yourself. And I'm comfortable with every part of me. Meals on Wheels coming to my door as someone who's housebound assures me that I'm not forgotten. They care that I'm okay. My name is Asha Ida Bell. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
ABC 7 My Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch My Suncoast News wherever you are. On our live stream, on our newly redesigned MySuncoast.com, and a brand new ABC 7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing Sight for Life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, and dining with recipes and all the hottest Suncoast restaurants. Visit MySuncoast.com and click on the mobile tab to download the ABC 7 My Suncoast app for iOS and Android.
Attention blood clot filter patients. Surgically implanted blood clot filters are potentially life-threatening. Some filters are prone to breaking, resulting in pieces of the filter moving through the body and causing internal bleeding. If you had surgery to implant a blood clot filter, you may be entitled to a cash award, even if you haven't suffered side effects yet. Call the Gold Shield Group now, 888-747-5291, to see if you qualify for a cash award, 888-747-5291.
If you've ever had a bad night's sleep, call and price the new Craftmatic Legacy. It has so much more than other adjustables and still costs up to 50% less, featuring a rising adjustable pillow rest to support your head, neck, and shoulders, bedside power plugs, under-bed night lights, and more. So call and price one today for less, up to 50% less than Tempur-Pedic, Sleep Number, and other adjustables.
You get so much more and it still costs less. You've got to see how little they cost.
Call 1-800-774-8103. That's 1-800-774-8103. Call now.
Every Friday, Parris Island holds large graduations, the culmination of so much hard work as recruits walk across the parade deck.
For many, it's an emotional time, many like Private Jeffrey Gannon.
Gannon and his fellow recruits enter the parade deck, marching in line in front of a large crowd of family and friends.
It's like the sacred parade deck. Like everybody's graduated here. My stepdad's graduated here. so many honorable veterans have graduated here.
And that's why Gannon enlisted. His main role model, his stepdad, a Marine who sat beaming with pride in the crowd as he marched onto the deck. The graduation is full of pomp and circumstance and leads up to a parade in front of the commanding general. While we were there, Major General Laurie Reynolds reviewed the troops. A salute from a 2-star general turned these recruits into official Marines.
I feel great, like a relief off my shoulder. I feel like I have like broader shoulders. I feel more confident and just feel like, I don't know, everything you worked for finally came true.
And today, seeing him do something so amazing and bigger than himself makes me super proud.
For Gannon, he's headed for infantry training in Jacksonville. His fellow graduates are headed to complete their schooling as well before receiving their permanent assignments.
You realize in the end that every little thing that you do is for a reason, and everything makes sense and it all comes together at the end.
In our last interview together, Gannon said as tough as his 3 months were, it was all worth it. A chance to join the elite fighting force of the United States Marines.
I love where I live, and I love like everything about it, so I don't know, just might as well try to do my time and see if I can make a difference in this world.
Now, before we go, a huge thank you to the Marine Corps for not only opening the doors, but for helping us through them. Wrangling interviews, holding our bus back when we were late, carrying tripods, they were all a huge help. You know, when we arrived for this story, we had no idea what was ahead of us, but we left with such admiration for those young people who decide to join something bigger than themselves. They truly are the few and the proud. Guys?
Yeah, it's quite a story, quite a place, and you know, once they're a Marine, that is a fraternity that they never leave. They're always a Marine, right?
Absolutely, and you know, the hard part is we were talking about what the teacher who was a Marine, I wanted to label him as a former Marine, but everybody told me, you're a Marine, you're a Marine. There's no such thing as a former Marine.
That is so true. Overall, the experience, what does it feel like being there, leaving? Do you reflect back on that and think about that experience?
Well, first of all, the biggest feeling is exhaustion, because they start at 5 a.m. and you're done at like 9, 10 o'clock at night, and that's for everybody. They get used to it. But you know, being on base, obviously you feel very patriotic, serious sense of patriotism. But you have more than that, a sense of pride about these young people, because they didn't have to go. They didn't have to go through this intense training and be exhausted and eat all the food that is not delicious.
Right.
But they choose to do that, and that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
It's an honor to have them serve.
Absolutely. All right, Christopher, thank you so much. You can watch this special, Making a Marine, on demand. Just head over to the ABC 7 channel on your Fire or Apple TV.
Thank you all for joining us for this special edition of ABC 7 News.